Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, March 10th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread for today? First two cards we are starting our day off with today are our Ace of Pentacles in combination with our Fool card in its reversal. I am going to reiterate, if you recall, a couple of weeks ago when before we came into March, right? What was the overarching message that was coming through, right? What was the overarching message that was coming through during that brief little window, that teeny tiny little window that we experienced where we didn't have a planet in retrograde, that blessed week, if you will? How important and valuable it is going to be right now to have an anchor, right? Working in that space of building into the anchor of the self, recognizing and identifying the space or place that helps ground oneself right now. It's not easy, right? There's a lot, and the reason that we needed some of that, why was the message coming through about being able to find a personal anchor? And we talk a lot about this here, about the gift of meditation. What is the gift of meditation? It's supposed to anchor us. Meditation is effectively anything that helps us return to center, right? In whatever form. I was like, the guides were like, in whatever form you find that, in whatever form you're able to find your anchor. If that means you sit in peace, if sitting in peace for 15 minutes helps you find your anchor, sure. If running around in a circle helps you find your anchor, sure. If singing at the top of your lungs helps you find your anchor, sure. Whatever you got, okay? Like, it doesn't, whatever it is, okay? Spirit is not discriminate about what it feels like, about how you anchor it, right? It's about finding the anchor. It's about finding your center, okay? It's not about how you do it. It's about doing it. Right? And because a lot of this energy here, right? It's not easy, right? It feels like, I keep on getting, it's like the drift, it's like, don't let it drift, right? And it's like, because, and this is often what happens when we, and I need to point this out. This is often what happens when we feel triggered, right? Like when we feel triggered, when someone's coming towards us in a way that they're just navigating from their space of ego, it'll creates that space that makes us feel like we're drifting off of our center. And that's why it's very important to be able to ground and to focus upon one's center. Because again, when we have amplification energy such as this, right? Because I'm telling you, it's rocky right now. Okay, we've got the Venus in retrograde. Okay, I'm just going to give you guys a brief overview of what we're feeling, because the best I like to describe it right now, this is Phantom of the Opera energy. Okay, it's like dun 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 dun. It's like, it's okay because we've got a Virgo full moon coming up, right? It's like the Virgo full moon seeks perfection, right? It's like that space that's like, and this is something that Virgos often have to navigate, the ability to see the energetic ideal in here. Right? It's so close. You can almost taste it, right? But that's that moment, right? And this is why we've been talking a lot about this. And we were actually talking about this right before we started the podcast, right? What often is the work, and this is why we're all working through Virgo lessons right now. What is often important in recognizing the work of a Virgo lesson? Often Virgos come into this world seeking perfection. They're looking all around for it. They've got their binoculars out. They're looking all over the place for where perfect is. And what do we often see that the Virgo that moves through in their own energetic lessons understands? Perfect doesn't exist. Perfect does not exist. Perfect is not a location. Perfect is not something that you can find on a map, because perfect is a cardinal direction, right? It's the longing, right? It's the perfection is the longing for something that doesn't exist, that allows us the space to build it anywhere we find it, right? That idea, that aspect of coming into perfection, understanding the perfect is nowhere on the map. It is a cardinal direction that we strive for. It is the cardinal direction that we reach for. And for a lot of the Virgo energy, this is why in that space, like working through that context of compassion, when we start to understand that desire for perfection is not found outside the self, but a longing that needs to be regulated and moderated and controlled to facilitate the creation of it, this is where it becomes like the germination energy. It becomes the ability to flourish. It becomes the ability to grow, right? It creates that place of change. But before we learn that work, we're often too hard on ourselves. We get mad at ourselves. We start beating ourselves up because nothing's ever perfect. Nothing is supposed to be perfect because perfect is a cardinal direction, right? It's like trying to find north. You can't go somewhere and be like, I found north. This is where we live. We don't. It's a cardinal direction that we move towards. So a lot of this space, like a lot of this work that we're doing right now, at the same time that we're feeling a lot of that amplification of desiring perfection, what do we have in the midst of it? We've got the Venus retrograde, right? And the Venus retrograde is all about perceptual distortion, right? We talk a lot about this here. The reason that we tell others not to get like beautification things done, it's not because like your hairdresser suddenly forgets how to cut hair during a Venus in retrograde. Your perception on what good looks like is way off. It's okay. It's like it's like the Venus retrograde distorts the perception, right? It's like funhouse mirror or broken mirror. Everything looks worse than it is. So you can see why this energy right now feels like very difficult, because it's working in the context of the Virgo full moon that feels like we're getting during an eclipse. It feels like it amplifies the desire for perfection in the midst of experiencing a Venus full moon that makes everything look ugly. The self, others, everything's about distortion. And this is why we were talking about the fact that it's really important right now to make sure that you're able to anchor and ground yourself as it relates to being able to know oneself, right? Because when we know oneself, I need to point this out, when we know oneself, we don't need a mirror, right? Like when we know oneself, we don't need a mirror. We understand and we see like where that is within us. But it's a lot of this type of energy right now. And it is having a different impact depending on where you find yourselves on the frequency cycles. Now, let me get the third card here and we'll break down what's happening across the frequencies. Ace of Cups in its reversal. So we've got a lot, look at this. We've got a lot of this ace energy right now. Okay. And so everything here, and I got to tell you right now, we've got the Ace of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. It's all about finding a point of balance, right? And if you're already starting to feel like this, if you're starting to feel like you're getting really hard on yourself, if you really feel like others are getting hard on you, right? If you feel like you're starting to experience that, come back to center. Remember and focus on the things that ground us, right? Because, and we talked a lot about this, when we feel an influx of emotions, it distorts our perception, right? And that doesn't mean, and I need to stress this, the emotions are important, right? The emotions ask for things. The emotions that we feel tell us who we are and what's important to us. But when we feel triggered, right? When we feel triggered, we we come into the context of just wanting to lash our emotions out, right? The same force that allows us to build bridges, right, is the same exact energetic force that creates turmoil. How is that occurring? Because when we just feel the emotions, when we're truly honoring the emotions, we don't just tell others how we feel. We introspect on how we feel to understand what the emotions are asking for. Emotions are like children, right? Emotions don't necessarily know what is best. They just know what they just feel things. So when we're moving in the context of the higher self, and we talk a lot about this here, and this is what we talk about the misunderstanding of Stoicism. Stoicism is not saying, look at me, I've healed, I don't feel anything. Like, here, no, go ahead, hit it. Yeah, can't feel a thing. Nice and healed. There's no context which in that occurs. Working through the concept of stoicism is understanding that there's never are we more strong than we feel when we feel all of our feelings. But we don't allow the feelings to cloud our judgment, to cloud our clarity of what is occurring, right? So there's a lot of this work that I see even here. And the thing about it, and we have to talk about this, every lunar cycle that we experience requires us to navigate an emotional indulgence point, something that isn't in our best interest, that it's far too easy to fall into as we experience it, right? And the thing about it, and I got to tell you right now, there's a little bit of this energy that we're experiencing that has to do, and I'm telling you, it is because of the conflict between the Venus retrograde cycle and the Virgo full moon in feeling energetically righteous, right? So let's talk about that, right? Because when we're in a space, right? When we're in the space that we are trying to navigate that point, right? And feeling a lot of that weight, it requires us to be, and I need to point this out. The difference between feels good and is good, we've talked a lot about this here, is when the higher self and the ego say, on this we can agree, right? It's being able to look at things with a level, order, proportion of clarity. It's being able to understand the difference between speaking towards an expansion of feeling versus speaking towards something that is moving in a direction. And that's why I see that for a lot of the energy right now, right? I see a lot of energy in separation kind of really going through it, because it says to me like this feels like a taffy pull situation. I see a lot of energy potentially in separation that feels like they're being pulled in two different directions. Because again, and it can sometimes feel like that because I keep on getting 3 different modalities wherein I'm recognizing the energy in separation is right now as we navigate a lot of planets moving out of Pisces into Aries, right? Which is understanding and determining the difference between a surplus and progress, right? What is a surplus? A surplus is having a lot of something, right? Doesn't necessarily articulate a direction. That's a lot of the Piscean energy, right? Wanting to kind of connect the dots, wanting to just kind of dwell in the space of understanding all of the interconnectedness of things. Nothing wrong with that. But, and a lot of the work that we see that Pisces often have to come here to understand is having, like, this is the work that the Pisces often has to recognize. The emotionality, being able to feel the connectedness of everything needs to be put on a pathwork of determination. That's why often we see that Pisces moves into Aries, right? Because Aries is all about that force of movement, right? So I can see even now there may be a lot of arguments that are occurring, right? Potentially even conflicts in separation where one person is approaching another and saying that they have an enormity of something. And another person is saying, I wasn't looking to you to describe the enormity of what you feel for me. I was looking to understand where it's going, right? Like the difference between saying that one has a lot of something and the difference between that and directions. So I can see even now it may be feeling like someone is about like having those moments of frustration where it feels like you're having 2 different conversations where one person wants to just talk about the enormity of something and the other person says it doesn't matter how much of something there is. It needs to be understand if we're on the same page, if it's going in the same direction, right? So there could be a lot of frustration there as someone feels like they're having those moments of feeling like the sigh of frustration, that it feels like someone is not understanding what you're trying to communicate. At the same time, I see a lot of alignment that's potentially occurring in the space of, again, those moments when you're going to explain something to someone and they say less. I know exactly what you mean. They kind of run ahead of you. They're like, oh, no, I know exactly. I can feel that next state. You don't need to explain something to me. I already know. And those moments of like like that delight that we sigh and we feel at home because we feel that sense of someone that understands and gets it. This is happening. I see this either on one side of the energy in separation right now or the other. For some energy, going through both of these things at once. The same conversation and one person feeling the limitation of what isn't in alignment while having a simultaneous conversation with someone and feeling that sense of them just, like moving in that direction. So the nice thing about this energy is it is allowing for a lot of karmic clearing as it relates to what feels like it is healed versus what feels like it's not in alignment, right? But it's heavy. It's difficult. It's frustrating, right? It's very stretched out. Now, for a lot of the energy right now coming into divine union, I keep on seeing that some of the difficulty that's happening for the energy coming into divine union right now is sometimes when we're on a healing journey, we find a wound behind the wound. We find the wound behind the wound. And that's the thing about it. This is why this is a little bit of a moment for some of the energy deep coming into divine union, because I keep on seeing the gift of coming into healing is you find wounds that you didn't realize existed. You find something that you didn't even recognize that you had to heal from. So this is a lot of the energy coming into the space of appreciating how far they've come, while also feeling that point of understanding like what that work is going forward. While for masculine and feminine energy deep within divine union right now, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of this energy deep within divine union, working through the context of identifying. And I keep on seeing there's a lot of this energy deep within divine union that is very much in the space of fully embodying Aries energy. And why do I see a lot of the energy right now? Like deep within Aries energy is also feeling very Virgo. It's feeling very Aries Virgo, because this is the energy that says feelings have nothing to do with it, right? And that's why sometimes when we're doing things that are difficult, we know they're difficult because I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that energy that says that in the space of effectively identifying and working in the context of one's own resolution, and that's why we sometimes have those moments where another person is coming towards us from a place of only talking towards the emotions, right? I keep on seeing there's a lot of the energy right now deep within divine union that is building into the context of, I want to describe it as what logic dictates. And so a lot of that work, it's like, and that's why I keep on hearing, that's why it's Aries Virgo, because like I keep on seeing the energy deep within divine union that says like this is the energy that's like setting their compass to what logic dictates. And so I keep on seeing that the energy, like when you're trying to work in that concept, that space of what logic dictates, and another's coming towards you more from a place of emotionality, it's like you sometimes feel that same weight of force that says, and again, I need to point this out. We were talking about this. And I'll just point this, I'm going to explain this here because this was very important, came through the other day. Emotions, we are not responsible for the emotions that we create in others, right? We are not responsible. And that's a gift, because we basically say that if you feel something about me, if I trigger you, if you just feel something, I can't go in there and change that. This is why we say it's important to introspect on the emotions. However, there is one emotion by which we are responsible for. The one emotion, and you'll point out, like all of the lessons that we work through always have that curvature of something that is important because it builds into the next lesson. The one thing that is most important to understand is the one responsibility vector that we have to each other as it relates to the emotions that we create in each other is confusion. Confusion. Because we've talked about here how confusion is how trauma occurs, right? Trauma is pain that does not have clarity. So when we create confusion in another, it is our responsibility to offer clarity to that confusion, because that is something within our capacity to take from another, right? So when we are not responsible for any emotions that we create in another beyond confusion, because the clarity that we can provide to another is the panacea by which they can heal. So I keep on seeing that this is the energy deep within divine union that's very much in that space, which says, the emotions do not have anything to like that's the energy that's being very logical in the space of their emotions, or potentially putting that same force towards the things that they're working towards. Now, fourth and fifth card in our 5-card spread for today. We've got 3 more cards out. We've got our 7 of Cups in its upright in combination with our Queen of Swords in its reversal and our 6 of Cups in its upright. So I got to tell you right now, there have been so many sword cards, right? We've got so many sword cards that have been coming up recently. And what's really fascinating about that, I need to point out, I can remember months we didn't see any Queen of Swords or anything like that. Now it's we had 2 days ago where the entire sword family was out, right? So there's a lot of this. It's a lot, and I keep on seeing here that there's a lot of that space as it relates to working in the context of clarity, right? And what I appreciate about what I'm seeing here is I see that for a lot of the energy right now, and I need to point this out, this is why it feels like Virgo lessons, right? Because for a lot of and this is all coming up towards that Virgo full moon, for a lot of the energy that we're recognizing and identifying here, a lot of this weight is basically saying, again, the force of compassion that we provide to one another is built upon and based upon the clarity that I keep on seeing a lot of this energy saying, I find clarity in myself. Because the clarity that I find within myself is the gift to those around me, right? That is the energy that, again, and I like this because it says to me, this is why there's so much of this energy deep within divine union that's working in that context of recognizing and understanding the easement point. Because this is the energy that, again, works on being self-aware, works on understanding the self. But this is the gift that they find within themselves, and then they give back to those around me. Because this is the energy that I'm effectively seeing that says to oneself as they're doing this work, that the more that we're able to have clarity as it relates to how we see ourselves, that is the gift that we're able to extend to those outside of the self, right? Helping others with that same sense of clarity. So that's why I see a lot of that energy here. It feels like a breath of fresh air, right? It feels like those conversations that feel remarkably easy, built upon the context of understanding and recognizing how easy it can be only when we set ourselves on the hard task of understanding the self to allow for easement. And that's why I keep on seeing that there's a lot of work that's happening right here for a lot of energy that's coming into alignment or coming into divine union. Because this is the energy that goes, wow, I'm in such a healthy, and this is the thing about it. What's beautiful is when we're in a context of a relationship that we're not constantly perseverating over, that we're not constantly worrying about, it creates a space where our emotional and spiritual hands are free, right? When we're not constantly working on trying to have to fix a relationship, it allows us to start to work in the context of fixing ourselves. And it's in those moments or those modalities that we start to heal ourselves, that we sometimes find things that we didn't even recognize that we had to heal within. So I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy there, working in that fashion, understanding that this is I keep on seeing that this is the energy that says, I care about you, I love you, because through you, I am able to see things that I need to work on that I could not even see before, right? So there's a lot of that energy here. And this is why we saw that it's very difficult, because some of this energy is going through the pain of carrying, I keep on hearing, carrying an energetic apology, right? Carrying the apology that they would desire to receive or the apology that they would like to give. But this is why it's all heart chakra work, because this is not the energy running around trying to give out apologies, trying to wave their healing in another person's face. This is the energy that says, I don't need others to celebrate the process of me coming into a space of healing. I understand that an apology is a plan, right? That when we're moving in that context, when we're truly healed, it's not one that we feel that need to get things off of our chest. Sometimes we hold more things in, right? Because I keep on hearing that this is the energy that's going into true union, that's putting the apology on the sacred altar, right? understanding that sometimes when we try to give someone an apology or ask for one, we open a wound in the process. And so this is why the energy is using discernment. They're not going around trying to give these things. They're holding them within. And they're saying, should the sublime day arrive that I can extend that forward to another, I will. But I will not go to seek it nor find it, because it is not my intention. While for masculine and feminine energy in separation right now, I've got that exact same situation happening right now. I got some energy that's like in separation, that someone wants to have a conversation with them, be like, yeah, listen, I just want to come over here and tell you how much I've healed. I just want to come over here and tell you how much I've healed. I don't think about you at all. Like that's the energy. Like this is the energy that's recognizing and understanding the difference between truly working in a space of transformation. And I keep on seeing a lot of energy having clarity. I keep on hearing energy having clarity right now in separation as to what feels like it is authentic healing versus someone trying to come towards them in the guise of healing, but is trying to create a wound in the process. Right? Because again, what does the energy deep within divine union recognize? We don't need to go I keep on hearing, we don't need to go pontificating upon our healing to others if it's true healing. We keep it within, right? On the sacred altar of the self. So that's why I see even now, if there's energy that's feeling like they're being pulled in oppositional directions, right? This is the energy that keeps on reaffirming to themselves to build clarity and context to what they're experiencing, remembering an apology is a plan. A true apology is a plan. A true apology is not just words, it's actions. And so this is the energy that's either building into the context of talking towards another about something they're trying to heal and immediately saying, I've been there. I know exactly what you're discussing. Or potentially working through rough waters with someone that keeps insisting that they want to heal, but they're not talking about how they want to change. They keep on talking about how much they have. They keep on talking about how far they have come. They keep talking about how much they feel, but not what they want to do about it. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Pentacles in its upright in combination with our Fool card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with the Three of Swords. Why do we say that the Sacred Heart energy has swords in it? Because again, the Sacred Heart is the heart that heals, is the heart that hurts. The heart that hurts is the heart that works. The heart that works does not just do something because it feels good to get something off their chest. They utilize discernment to understand if in the moment that they get something off their chest, if it's helping another or hurting another, right? It's identifying and articulating upon the discernment of such. That's painful. It's not easy, right? This is why we often talk about the fact that the true spiritual journey is one that can sometimes be very painful because we understand ourselves better. We end up hurting more because we're not projecting that hurt onto others. We're not blaming others for it. We're not overly internalizing. We're not saying that we ourselves are terrible. We understand the difficulty of situations. Our heart breaks as we observe it, but it is not broken. So I just keep on seeing that for a lot of that energy, working through that context. I keep on hearing, working through the context of grief and joy, identifying and recognizing it, feeling the weight of it. I keep on seeing and what's interesting about it is I see some energy in separation I keep on hearing it feeling like their heart is breaking, but feeling like their heart is breaking for the right reasons, right? Feeling like not saying, why is this happening? And this is how we heal karma. This isn't the energy that says, I don't understand what's happening. This is the energy that looks at something, understands why, and they feel the weight of its significance, right? As they're healing from it in the process, right? So there's a lot of that, again, there's a lot of that clarity that's happening for the Virgo objectivity as it relates to recognizing what can actually be healed versus what is a perceptual impasse. Now, for a lot of the energy, and at the same time, I see new energetic connections forming, and this is why I keep on hearing this is the energy that is grieving together. Why is the energy grieving together? Why is this is why I told you these are Virgo partnerships. They're grieving together because it's in those moments that you articulate about the pain that you experience. Another person says, I've experienced that pain too, right? I keep on hearing they're healing together by understanding the important force of an impossible situation. I keep on hearing a lot of this. This is why the energy coming into partnership right now, they're Virgo partnerships, because they're saying they are carrying the shared weight of having navigated an impossible situation. And what is an impossible situation? It's when you recognize that you have a lot of love for someone, but ultimately you don't want the same things. Ultimately, you don't prioritize the same things. So I keep on feeling that energy and kind of navigating that force. Like I just keep on seeing them kind of like in that space of like expressing the hurt. And this is the energy that's articulating that pain to each other. But I keep on hearing the energy say they're not fixated on it. They're talking about it, but they're not fixated upon it. Why are they not fixated upon it? Because the word fixate means that you're talking about something in order to try to fix it and understand it. This is the energy that already understands that something cannot be fixed, right? And this is why the energy feels that sense of healing as they move towards one another, because they can tell even in the conversation, articulating situations that are painful, but they're not trying to understand better. They're trying to actively heal from. While for a lot of this energy deep within divine union, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of this energy deep within divine union right now, I keep on hearing the energy say feelings have nothing to do with it. Right? There's a lot of that objectivity here. There's a lot of that sense I keep on seeing of orientation as it relates to the energy, navigating spaces or places and articulating the ability to separate. I keep on seeing separate logic with emotionality, right? Like that ability of doing so. And I need to stress this is why it feels like Aries Virgo, because when you come into a space of objectivity, you're always able to explain the emotions. So that's why I see that there's a lot of energy right now deep within divine union that's feeling very analytical in relationality to their emotions, because they understand and recognize that when we feel a lot of emotions, we have to be very conscientious in understanding the reasons why. So that's why I keep on seeing this is very like, I'm getting, it's like cold mountain energy. You know what I mean? It's like working in that context of just being able to understand something with clarity. Continuing to get clarification between like the Fool card in its reversal and the Ace of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify, please? Clarification coming through right now with the Four of Pentacles in its reversal. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of this. I just keep on seeing there's a lot of this, and this is the thing about it. I'm going to remind you, and this is why I said it's really, 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 really important right now to make sure that you're able to anchor, like to find that healthy anchor, right? Because often, and I need to point this out, when someone comes towards us just from a place of emotion, but they can't explain it. We've talked about this, that this is where trauma lives, right? When someone comes towards us with like the full breadth of their emotion, but we don't understand the context or the reason why, we often get traumatized because it feels like it lacks sense. And that's why when we're able to navigate something that lacks sense, but find the anchoring stability in the self to understand and recognize that and not feel like one's pulled into and this is what we sometimes recognize, like when trauma comes at us and we like try to match it or project it. This is why we just become a part of it, right? Because, and I need to point this out. Reason cannot heal trauma, but reason can stand against it, right? Reason can stand straight and tall in the face of something that is energetically illogical. Because when we understand our own internal logic and another comes towards us in a space that they're being illogical, henceforth they're projecting their trauma onto us, we just don't, like, we're not affected by it. We're not we just see clearly through it, It's like a strong wind, but you don't let yourself get pulled in the direction of it. And so I feel like a lot of the gift that's happening right now, and this is the thing about it, a lot of the gift that we're experiencing, particularly with Aries and Virgo, is being able to recognize, I keep on seeing the difference between passion and trauma, right? Because here's the thing about it, passion, if one feels passionate about something, one can talk about it, one can explain it, one can walk someone through with dedicated clarity why something is so important and fundamental to another. But when another person is coming towards us from a place of trauma, it often feels like it's trauma dumping, because instead of giving reasons, they're just talking about all the things that happened to them, right? It's not necessarily, it's not so much the logic of understanding why something is important, so much as just hearing someone's story, right? Like I keep on getting, like, it's not enough to hear a story, it's understanding the lessons. We've talked about this, right? And in those moments that we hear someone, like I keep on seeing that there's a lot of this energy that understands that sometimes when we haven't explored our own stories, our stories become our own form of protection, right? Like the ability of saying, like I keep on hearing, we don't use the past as a shield. The past isn't a security blanket to prevent us from doing the work in the present, right? That's why we do a lot of understanding and understanding the meaning of our stories, right? When we're on healthy journey work, we are not defined by what happened to us. We understand who we became in spite of what occurred, right? So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of this energy that's working through the context of, I keep on seeing someone trying to energetically free their hands of responsibility, right? Trying to heal something and at the same time trying to free their hands of responsibility in doing anything, right? And I keep on seeing energy say that's not how you heal something. You heal something by picking up a tool, by understanding where the work begins, right? And so that's why I feel like, and this is how Aries and Virgo are kind of working in partnership, because that's why Aries and Virgo, I like to point out, Aries and Virgo, like high five when you hear this, feelings got nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? If you know what you got to do, you just do what you do. It doesn't really matter how you feel about it, right? Like that's a little bit of the clarity that we're seeing here. But right? When someone's operating in a trauma-informed environment, they'll often articulate as to why something happened to avoid energetically doing that work. So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that space right now as it relates, and this is the gift, right? This is the gift of some of that work that we experienced coming through the Mars retrograde cycle. Because what was the gift of understanding the lessons coming through in the Mars retrograde cycle? A warrior doesn't mean that you just fight everything, right? Warrior, the honorific of warrior is finding the capacity to navigate difficult situations and then to move one's intention in what feels like it is moving in something that feels like it is helpful, right? And that's why warriors are those who, I keep on hearing, warriors are those who have mastered the lessons of surrender. Because surrender does not mean giving up. Surrender means recognizing that the spaces that we sometimes insist upon blind us, right? It's understanding where our force feels like it is valuable versus where it feels like we're pushing against something that is oppositional towards us, right? It's a lot of that sense of understanding of the self. And I need to point out, like one of the things I keep on saying, and this is like a lot of those Aries messages coming through. A warrior can always articulate their logic. A warrior does not conduct themselves from the space of their passion. They parse through their passion to understand what feels like it is intentional, right? Because a lot of that work is understanding that the emotions want to be passionate, but again, the emotions don't carry the directions, right? This is what we talk about. Stoicism is not the abandonment of the emotions. Stoicism is like, I keep on getting, Stoicism is like the chariot by which we set our intention and then we allow our emotions to guide us in the direction of it, right? So when you think about it, like you have to think about it like that. Like, when you're in that space, often when you see a chariot, it looks like the horses are guiding it, but they're not. It is the intention of the person behind the emotions that moves them forward. So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of this work. It's interesting because they're saying with the combination of Aries and Virgo, it feels very much like chariot energy, right? It's setting the intention and then allowing the emotions to guide it there. And when the emotions start deviating, you let yourself anchor and you remind yourself about where you are going, and then you don't allow the emotions to move you back and forth through something, right? But it's hard because I'm telling you, this energy right now, it's a lot. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Seven of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with a Four of Wands. It's not easy, right? And the thing about it is I keep on getting, there's something really important that's coming through right now. And I feel like it's going to be very helpful across all of the frequencies, which is understanding. And this is what I keep on seeing is actually happening. And that's why it feels like, even though the Chariot card isn't out, this is feeling very much like Chariot energy, because they're saying to me that remembering the difference between an argument and a conflict. Okay, what is the difference between an argument and a conflict? So an argument is when we want the same things, right? An argument is when you and I want to both go to Albuquerque, right? But I want to go the scenic route and you want to go the other route, right? And now we're going to sit there and we're going to argue, right? We're going to fight it out. Right, we're gonna sit there and we're gonna But here's the nice thing about an argument, and this is usually how you can tell that you're in the space of an argument. There's always a moment in an argument that you can say, on this we can agree. This is what is of value to us, right? We may have different perceptions, we may have different views of where we're trying to go, but at the same time, it is the passion that we feel for something that is allowing us to find the space. Like we're working in confluence to one another, to understand the best way of going about it. A conflict are those moments that you're in an argument with someone and you realize that you're talking about completely different things. That the reason you're feeling a push and pull is not because you're working through the nuance of the difference between how to attain something, but that someone wants something completely counter oppositional to what you want, right? They want something. You want to go to Albuquerque. They want to go over here, right? It's like, blah, blah, blah. And you feel that pull, right? You suddenly recognize, you have those moments that you suddenly say, I don't think we're on the same page. I don't think we agree upon anything. I think that the premise of what you're talking about, I think about what your ideal is like, whoa, right? So it's in those moments, and this is what we talk about, that we sometimes step away from something because we have that recognition and we say, we're never going to agree upon this. Because, and this is why it's so important, and this is why I can see in some context right now in separation, it feels really painful. I see some energy coming into karmic separation, but in a healthy way, healthy, healing. In the moment that someone has a profound sense of clarity and understanding what they desire, their manifestation goal is profoundly different than someone that they care about. And that's painful, right? That's heartbreaking. That's why we talk about the fact that it says heartbreaking but not heartbroken. Because in those moments that we understand and recognize a disparity of that nature, it can feel difficult, but it's in that moment that we suddenly understand like what it is what that force is, like what feels like it's moving in the direction to us versus it's like the energy that says, I understand what is happening, right? And that's the thing that I keep on seeing. And that's why I see that for a lot of the energy right now in separation, building into the context of new connections, being able to articulate to another and effectively say to a certain extent, this is why I keep on hearing the energy saying, grieving but not fixated, right? This is why these are new energetic connections coming through in Virgo, because this is the energy that says grieving but not fixated. because this is the energy that says, I am holding space to understand something better that I'm moving beyond, versus I am fixated on it. I'm trying to understand how to heal it. I'm trying to talk about it to go back to try to fix it. This is the energy that says, I understand that we reached an impasse, right? While for masculine and feminine coming into divine union, a lot of this energy coming into divine union, I just recognize and identify, is articulating and speaking towards. I keep on seeing the energy that this is, remember what I said? They're holding, I keep on seeing the energy. This is why it's all Chiron lessons. This is the energy that is holding the weight of a wound within. Why is the energy coming into divine union holding the weight of a wound within? Because there's energy right now that sees something with clarity. And yes, I see the energy saying it would feel very good to get that off my chest. It would feel really good to give that person an apology. It would feel really good to demand an apology. But this is the energy that says sometimes this is why they're utilizing they're utilizing discernment, because this is the energy that says sometimes when we get something off of our chest, if it isn't coming towards another with the intention, if we're well intentioned, right? Sometimes we open a wound in the process, right? So there's a lot of this energy. That's why I keep on hearing this is the energy that's moving into true union, and they're not running off trying to tell another, I need to tell you, I'm so happy right now. Like, this is not the energy that does that. This is the energy that holds that within and puts it on the sacred altar of the self. And that's why there's a lot of karmic dreams that might be happening right now. Right? Because there's a lot of energy. I can hear them saying, I wish there was a way I could tell that person without potentially hurting them further. Continuing to get clarification between our 7 of Cups in its upright, our 6 of Cups in its upright, and our Queen of Swords in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our 2 of Swords in its reversal. So a lot of this, like, I got to tell you right now, it's like, and I have to say, the reason that you're feeling like this, I'm going to just say it, it's freaky energy. Why is it freaky energy? Because again, we've got these two things right now are like counter oppositional to each other. The Virgo full moon energy and the eclipse cycle wants everything to be perfect. The Venus retrograde makes everything look worse than it is. Now kiss, right? Like, we got those two energies. We got the energy that wants everything to be perfect, right? Everything's like, everything to be perfect. And then we've got the energy that's like sees everything far worse than they are. And now they got like, it's like they're together. It's me. It's not great. So, and that's why I keep on saying, if you're feeling that intensity, remember, start with the compassion of the self. Find your energetic anchor. Let your intentions guide you. Remember, you are not a mess. You are a work in progress. Continuing to get clarification between our 3 of Swords in combination with our 4 of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with our 7 of Pentacles in its upright. Patience. We got to talk about patience for a minute. Because the other difficulty that we're also experiencing right now is the fact that patience has never been at an all-time low. Because I just need to walk you through this right now. We've got Uranus and Taurus. And the thing with Uranus and Taurus is everybody's patience has been worn down to a nub. Everything frustrates us right now. It's itchy tag energy. Uranus and Taurus is like that tag that you just can't reach, and you're like trying to reach it, and you're just like getting really frustrated in the process. And now we've got all of this energy moving up into Aries. There's too many planets in Aries. It's too crowded. It's too crowded. It feels too crowded. It feels claustrophobic, right? So now everyone's feeling like a lot of that frustration. So we've got an Aries, and I got to tell you right now, the thing with Aries energy is that Aries energy, like one of the difficulties of Aries energy is when Aries shows up, everybody's got patience. And Aries is like, what do you guys got there? Patience. And Aries is like, what's that? Never heard of this stuff. Like all the patience that Aries signs have to find, they have to weave it out of nothing. Like Aries learn how to create patience where patience does not exist. So for a lot of the space, I keep on hearing there's a lot of work that's happening in understanding that patience is a gift because it is a limited resource. It's a limited resource. And that's why we talked a lot about this. We keep on hearing there's a lot of conversation that's happening right now about the sacred breath of healthy union. And what is the sacred breath of healthy union? The sacred breath of healthy union. It's not the fact that we don't enter relationship and we're not annoyed by the counterparts. That never stops. But the sign of a healthy union is that our patience is always met by progress, right? The desire requested is met by the energy that's given back. It is the respirating breath. And what's beautiful is that when patience is met with progress, patience becomes infinite. Patience becomes infinite. In the exhalation of patience that is met with progress, it becomes the sacred breath. However, and this is why I keep on seeing that there's something that may be happening for some energy and separation right now that feels like it is the closing of a cycle. If there is something that we ask for from another over and 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 over again, and it's only in the moment that our patience expires, only in the moment that we run out of breath, that we walk away, that another delivers us the thing that we are asking for, that no longer becomes something that feels like it breathes life into us. It feels like a wound is created in the process. It feels like a knife. Because that's that moment that says, you could have given that to me at any moment, but you waited. You made the choice to wait until you saw that I was done waiting. And that's why I keep on seeing a lot of energy that says in that space, that doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like, I hear the energy saying, it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like the opposite of a gift, right? I keep on hearing someone say, like, it feels like a backhand, right? It feels like it's not a gift. It feels like a slap, right? Because that's the energy that says you could have, you waited until there was no more patience left to finally bring progress, right? And that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy coming into divine union, healing from situations like that. This is why I keep on hearing the energy coming into Virgo. And that's why I see, like, that's why I hear, like, the energy saying, like, I can hear the energy saying, I knew it was over then. Telling someone about the cruelty. I keep on hearing the cruelty of that. Giving something to someone only after they walk away. And that was the energy that said it didn't feel like a gift in that moment. It felt like it just clarified everything. And that's why I keep on hearing the energy say, they're grieving, but they're not fixated. They're not trying to fix something. They understand the nature and condition of what they experience that requires them to heal. While for masculine and feminine, deep within divine union, I just keep on seeing that a lot of this energy, this is just all heart expansion. This is just all heart expansion. And this is the end. I keep on hearing this energy say, my heart, and this is why it feels like energy, like this is why it sounds like Virgo, is because it's Aries and Virgo. And it says, my heart is a mansion. My heart is a mansion of many rooms. And my ability to hold those apologies within the self, my healing does not require, I keep on hearing the energy say, my healing does not require me to present it before another. My healing happens within, and it's energetically sacred. And I carry that sacredness with me. And should the day arrive that I can extend that apology or ask for it in kind, I will do so. But it will reside within me until that day arrives, right? Because this is the energy that is working on integration and says that it's not necessary. It's the understanding. Like I keep on hearing the wounds become a library. Right? Continuing to get clarification between our Four of Pentacles in its reversal and our Four of Wands in its upright. So we've got double four energy today. One card to clarify. Boom! Page of Wands in its upright. I like this. It's like, it's like, I want to point out, I say, I like this, and I have to go, because it's like, it's navigate. And here's the thing, and I keep on hearing, it's like, it feels like reason against unreason, you know? And I keep on, and this is, it's very important, because I think that we got to talk about this, because you remember, we talked a lot about the fact that trauma is created in the space that we experience something that lacks reason. We also talked about the fact that reason cannot fight a lack of reason. Because when someone's being unreasonable, there is like no amount of reason that you can bring into a situation if someone's premise is if they tell you that they're operating in a space that is illogical, right? Then the only thing more foolish than trying to bring logic into it is like you become more foolish. We talked about this a few days ago. The only thing that is more foolish than navigating from a place that's illogical is is someone with logic trying to fight against illogic with it, because someone literally just told you that the premise of logic that you're bringing to something is not what they utilize. So the only thing more foolish than the fool is the fool that argues with the fool. You understand? Okay. So this is why I keep up, and this is why I see a lot of energy standing in the face of a lack of logic, right? You can, like, once you see that, it's like you don't have to fight against it. You just observe it, right? You just observe it. You just observe it. You just stand within it, right? This is what I told you about finding the anchor in the self. Right? Because when someone's bringing their trauma to you, or they're trying to project their trauma to you, right? Or they're coming towards you in a space of unreasonableness, it almost feels like you're standing in the middle of a whirlwind. But you don't let yourself get blown away in the process. Because you just say to them, you're not making any sense. Like, what you're saying just doesn't make sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, and in that moment that you say that, you don't try to bring sense. Like, when the moment you recognize that someone is not making sense, you don't try to bring them into a space of sense. You do your part. You know what I mean? You try. And if you recognize it feels like it feels like they're receptive to it or not. Right? I feel like the energy is going like this much. You give it this much. You give it this much. You give it this much to see if the logic will, like, and this is the thing with Aries, like, you give it this much to see if the logic will catch, and if the logic doesn't catch, you just say, well, that because again, patience is precious stuff, so you give it a little bit of patience, but not infinite patience. Right? So I just keep on seeing, like, and this is beautiful though, for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, I mean, coming into in separation. Like, this is the energy I keep on seeing. And this is why it feels like I keep on hearing energy in separation saying tragic, because it's a tragedy. They're not saying I'm a tragedy. This is the energy that says I'm moving away from a tragic situation because I had to move away from something that didn't make any sense. Right? And that's the energy that I keep on hearing. Tragic. It's tragic because it was traumatizing. Right? And so again, there's a lot of that space that, and I keep on seeing that the formation of these new partnerships is the energy that says, I recognize the difference between what can be, this is the energy that keeps on saying to each other as they build into new connections. It's not that, I keep on hearing, and this is why there's heavy Aries energy. This is energy trying to say to someone, I'm not a quitter. Right? Like, that's all that Gemini and Aries energy going, like, please keep in mind, it's not that I'm a quitter. I understand where my effort is appreciated versus what feels like it's unreasonable, right? Like, there's a lot of that work I keep on seeing and understanding the force of effort. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is why I see it even now. This is why I keep on hearing, they're like, like, I keep on hearing this energy, like, coming into divine union that says when we're healing, we don't parade it around. That's what it's saying. Like, that's what the energy is saying right now. When we're truly healing, we don't need to parade around our healing to everybody. Right? Like, when we're truly healing, we work on that context of within. And that's why I keep on hearing the energy that says, I'd love to have that conversation, but I don't need it for my healing journey because I recognize and I identify the difference between something I need that would feel good for me versus how it might feel for them. A lot of energy working on Venus in Aries and Chiron. Love hurts. And that's why love hurts, because it's understanding the difference between the love we want to give versus how another might receive that love, right? While for masculine and feminine, deep within divine union right now, this is how I see the energetic impact that is occurring between the energy right now. And it is having a different impact on masculine and feminine. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. For masculine, I keep on seeing the masculine being in that space of being gregarious, right? Being able to articulate their feelings, being able to share that, being able to kind of like, I keep seeing effectively spread their wings to a certain extent. Feminine, I keep on seeing, I see a lot of energy of feminine right now, deep within divine union, feeling like they're going into their villain era because the feminine energy is saying, I don't care if you don't like me. Like the energy's going, this is the energy but this is why feminine energy healing their heart chakra, right? Is feminine saying, I don't care if you don't like me, because this is the feminine that says, I like me, right? And that's the thing. When we like ourselves, we don't really care so much if other people don't like us, because it's not about whether they like us or not. It's whether we like us. Like this is the energy. Feminine's like, it doesn't matter if other people don't like us. I like me. And that's that space that like, this is the energy of the feminine goes, if that makes me a villain, so be it. Right? Like, this is the energy saying, I don't feel like I need to be in that space to please others. I please the self first. And me being pleased in the self is how I can please those around me. Right? Continuing to get clarification between our 4 of Wands in its upright and our 2 of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with the 6 of Swords. So I see that for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, a lot of inner child healing that's happening. You know? A lot of inner child healing that's happening right now. Like, look at this. Masculine is deep in that inner child energy, but there's a lot of this masculine inner child energy that's navigating in the space of embracing the wonder of that journey, navigating the space of feeling their own authenticity, being able to be in the context of identifying and recognizing and feeling. I keep on seeing the desire of healing the ego to such an extent that they feel like they can reach out and connect to others, right? This is the masculine that says my emotions are not separate from the experience of being a masculine. I embody the masculine energy when I embrace my emotions, and I say to others, because I can feel my feelings and not react to them, you are safe within the wings of my embrace. While for feminine energy, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the feminine energy right now, this space or this state of recognizing and identifying, this is the feminine that keeps on saying, I am loving myself because I am not cake. Everyone does not deserve a slice of me, right? The ability to recognize and acknowledge, to come into the space of understanding that this is the feminine that says, I don't care so much about whether others don't like me. I care about whether I like myself, right? And this is both of these energies, see, doing that work of healing the heart space. But for feminine, it's coming closer to the self. For masculine, it's coming closer to others. Continuing to get clarification between our 7 of Pentacles in combination with our Page of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Strength card in its reversal. Right? This is a lot of, I got to tell you, it's a lot of the work in Virgo, and it's a culmination of a lot of that force that we saw coming out of the Mars retrograde. Right? What is strength? So much as being able to move with confidence in the direction that you fear. Right? What is the difference between confidence and courage? When we have confidence, we don't require courage. Right? This is why it's important for us to move away from righteousness. Because often there are those who confuse confidence with courage. Right? Feeling confident in something is when you feel secure in something. right? And this is why we always have to be we have to be conscientious. We always have to be conscientious when we feel very secure in something, because sometimes when we feel very secure in something, we're not navigating the space of understanding what it takes to do that shadow work that we spoke about, right? Not avoiding something that is difficult, but finding the courage within to face the things that we fear, to look fear in the face and say, who are you? What are you really trying to say to me? Right? Because our fears help us understand ourselves. And by exploring them, right? Not by shying away from them, by digging deeper into them, we get to the source of where the fear comes from. And typically, when we have fear, we find that it exists in two different spaces. It either exists in the space of saying there's something really fundamental and important that the fear is trying to protect. Or there's something about the self that the fear is trying to protect me from. And that is why we do our shadow work, because it's not just about responding to fear. It is looking at the fear to understand if the fear is coming from a healthy place, from the place that it's actually trying to protect us from something that is harmful to us, or if the fear is trying to protect us from a part of ourselves that we are trying to avoid. Continuing to get clarification between our Page of Wands in combination to our Seven of Swords in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? The Sun card in its reversal. It's not easy, right? Doesn't feel good. Being on a healthy spiritual path work should not make you feel validated. It should not make you feel better than everybody else. It should not make you feel vindicated. It's not something that you parade to others and say, I can't wait to tell you all about how great I am now. I can't wait to tell you, oh my God, I just found something. I can't wait to share it to you. No, that is all projection. The healthy healing that we carry is one that exists within us. And we utilize discernment to understand that what is good for us might not feel like that to another, right? When we're truly on the space that we feel good in ourselves, we don't need that external validation, right? We don't need to seek it in others. In fact, we sometimes are very discerning as it relates to how we've experienced something versus how another might receive it, right? So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy working in that space, that's why I keep on seeing and this is having a different impact across all of the frequencies. For a lot of the energy in separation, a lot of that work, I keep on hearing the energy that's meeting under I keep on hearing this is a lot of new connections that are meeting under the auspice of having to make a terribly hard decision, right? A lot of energy that is meeting under the auspice of having to make a very hard decision. And that decision is the difference between whether the feelings that they felt for another were not about whether they were shared, but whether they decided that they were moving in the same direction, right? And that's why I keep on hearing this energy that's grieving together, because this is the energy that says and recognizes the full weight of those moments and says, rest assured, I did not move away from something because it became hard. It's because it was impossible, right? And rest assured, this is the energy that says, I'm talking about it, not because I'm fixated upon it, but because I'm recovering from it. While for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is the energy that I keep on hearing. I don't need to express an apology to another. I don't need to get something off of my chest. My healing is my own. Let my life serve as my apology. And should the sublime day ever arrive that I can extend it to another, I will do so. But I'm navigating the discernment of saying that when I heal, when I tell another of my healing, when I get something off my chest that might feel good for me, it might not feel good for them. I might open a wound in the process. While for a lot of this energy deep within divine union, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, I keep on hearing the energy say feelings have nothing to do with it, right? I have a lot of this energy that's saying feelings have nothing to do with it. The way I feel, and this is, I keep on seeing that the thing about Aries energy, and with all this Aries energy and a lot of Virgo energy, And this is why Virgo and Aries like high five each other. Because when Aries says feelings has nothing to do with it, Virgo's like right up here, up here. Like they high five each other. Because in the context of understanding that the feelings don't hold directions, feelings want things, they're demanding, right? And the ability to parse out the feelings, to understand what the feelings are asking for. I keep on seeing that this is the energy that says to one another, it's not that we need to agree, right? It's not that we always have to be in lockstep, but we understand what is fundamental and important, and that way we move in alignment to each other. There's a lot of this energy that I keep on seeing works in the context of understanding the self, because the energy deep within divine union says the better that I can do in understanding the emotions and articulating them to another, the better. That is the gift of clarity that starts with me, and then I extend in the simplicity of those around me. Because they know that I'm not bringing confusion to things. I'm working on always providing clarity. Final card for today's spread, between our Strength card in its reversal in combination with our Sun card in its reversal. High Priestess energy in its upright. This is a lot of that Virgo full moon energy. So again, working in that space, coming into that space of being energetically logical, right? It's not easy. This is often why those with heavy Aries Virgo placements are often characterized as being very cold, right? But it's not, you have to understand the gift, like Virgo energy operates in that space of being very logical, because it's understanding, and I need to point this out, it's understanding that I like to point out the way I describe Virgo energy is everything I do to me, everything I do to you, I do to me first, right? Like that space of the Virgo working through that sense of trying to build into perfect. This is often why, and this is what's difficult as we move towards this Virgo full moon, that desire for perfection is so difficult, but sometimes perfection itself is the blockage, right? Because nothing, and this is again, remembering, perfection is not a destination. It's a cardinal direction. It is a longing for something that always is unattainable. It's always out of grasp. And that's why when Virgos are in a healthy space, they start to work to moderate their own feeling of desiring something to be perfect. Because when you recognize that that feeling is not a longing for a place, but a longing for, like, it's the thing on the outside. It's always on the cusp of the horizon, right? You start to moderate that. You start to mitigate for that. It becomes the gift that you can give around everything, because then you understand that perfect is always within your grasp, so long as you're ready to roll up your sleeves and make what you find as perfect as it can be, right? And that's why I keep on hearing, like Aries and Virgo are both saying, and this is why, again, we have to avoid with the indulgence of this energy. The Leo full moon was a bit of a dress rehearsal. Why me? Woe is me, right? Why me and woe is me is the same energy, right? Why me? Over concentration on the self. Your hands aren't free. You're too busy, like, feeling that weight, failing to recognize that change is available to you, right? Woe is me. It's happening to me. It's them. Very convenient. You're pushing it off to someone else. Your hands are free. You're not doing anything. Nothing is ever ideal. Ideal is what we do with it, right? It's not about finding the perfect place. It's working where you are, making it as perfect as possible, right? And that's that space that, again, it doesn't come into the space of saying I suck or you suck. The situation sucks. What are we going to do? How are we going to roll up our sleeves? What are we going to do to make something better? And that's happening across all the frequencies, because I keep on seeing that the gift that's happening with the combination of this Virgo and Aries energy is looking and really saying what feels like someone just being in a space of articulating what's wrong versus the energy that is actively working on making it right. Bottom of the deck on this reading, especially with this Three of Pentacles in its Three of Cups in its reversal, bottom of the deck. I got to say it again. Listen, it's a Venus retrograde. It's a Venus retrograde, and Venus retrograde cycles distort the perception of the self. It distorts your own perception of the self, and it distorts the perception of how others see you. So that's why, again, if you're starting to feel the weight of this, again, know who you are. Find the confidence within, right? Because when we're feeling like, I got to tell you, when we're navigating some of this like fun house mirror, cracked mirror energy that sometimes the Venus retrogrades can bring, when you don't need a mirror, when you know yourself, like you can just kind of move through it. And it starts with compassion for the self as you do so, and compassion for those around us who may be experiencing this in a way that they aren't carrying it as well. So don't ask yourself, don't get worried about others' darkness. Just say to yourself, how can I bring something into a space of light? How can I make something better? That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so on my website. Please keep in mind, if you book a reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website, so I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Wheel of Fortune card. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, March 19th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be focusing our studies on the Justice card. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head over to my Substack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Archive. It's not necessary to catch up. I will do my best to give you an update on everything that we've studied thus far prior to the class, but the material is there for you to receive when you're ready to receive it. You will also have access to a one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein, also, if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Archive. You will also have access to a one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward towards your personal tarot goals. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us on this journey. Also, I want to let you guys know that even if you do not become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to any giveaway information. And speaking about giveaways, I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also for my clients, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my clients seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. These classes, I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I also want to let you guys know that I'm now very happy to offer dream interpretation readings. You can purchase them per dream or as a package. I simply ask if you purchase the package to make sure that you start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key messages and themes coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.